Okay. Alrighty. So Chroma Key with Darkroom software. So just a little bit of some Chroma Key that we've done before. For the guys, you won't know what this is, but the women will know. So Mar there, she's wearing what's known as tulle, and it's a common thing that's used in for bridal thing. Anyway, it's very see-through, and I will tell you how good Darkroom software is. So they're probably about a foot away from the backdrop. She's wearing a slightly green shirt, and there's a shadow between the two of them. So this is the actual print without going into Darkroom, without making any other corrections. You can see how well the tulle drops out, how her green shirt is a little bit see-through. It's not very much, and we could go in and increase that, but it's not too bad. And of course, the shadows between the two of them are pretty well knocked out. You can still see the background. So just to give you an idea of how good Darkroom software is with Chroma Key, there it is. So okay. So I'm just going to show you some samples of Chroma Key that we've done. Notice Michelle, and for those of you that have Darkroom and you ever go to do sample photos, and you'll notice there's a photo of me and the girl. That's my cousin Michelle. So she's the one with the green hat here. So, but anyway, so that's so just see how that's knocking it out there. Okay. Last year during the quarantine, Tanya and I did a unique photo booth session every single day for 62 days. So these are a couple that we did during that time. And again, it was done with the photo booth that I showed you behind me. Just one light and just let you know. So this was the day of the sinking of the Titanic. So that was the theme for the day. And of course, that's a pretty famous photo. And I don't think that's really the Titanic. I think that's actually the sister ship, the Olympic, but it looks the same. But anyway, so that's what we used for the background there. Okay, and new normal, so fun in the sun. Again, just all Chroma Key, and Tanya, my wife, made all these backgrounds. Another one that we did. So just again, just showing you some of the things you can do with Chroma Key. Okay, so I talked a little bit earlier about colors, or what color background you should use, whether it should be blue or green. Blue is the actual original color for Chroma Key, or it's a better color for Chroma Key. However, blue jeans, blue eyes, anything blue, and people are more likely to wear a Chroma Key blue shirt than they are a Chroma Key green shirt, although my wife's wearing a Chroma Key green shirt today by accident. But anyway, so that's why green is a more common, popular color, because it's just not worn as often. So take whichever. However, you're probably better off with that Chroma Key green. And later on, I'm going to show y'all how to change it if you ever need blue, instead. Anyway, so, oops, let me click the next one here. So as far as Chroma Key blue, just to give you an idea what that looks like, and you can order Chroma Key blue backgrounds. You don't have to write these numbers down or anything, but just to give you an idea of what Chroma Key green is, although I may be out of order. Oh, I bet I skipped that one. Sorry. Yeah, I don't have a blue one. That's odd. Or I have them out of order. I do. Sorry. Anyway, so those are the numbers for Chroma Key blue. And again, not really critical to know, but just wanted to throw some colors out there, or what the color Chroma Key is. And again, more debate for whether doing Chroma Key green or Chroma Key blue. This was not a photo booth, but this was actually an event that we did at the Cotton Bowl here in Dallas. And it was Colombia versus Mexico in soccer. And everyone from either Mexico wore Chroma Key green, or everyone from Colombia wore Chroma Key blue. So we did have to have both, and we did have to switch it back and forth. So again, yeah, so sometimes you may need to have both if it's something, and hopefully they let you know beforehand. So again, that was a situation where we did need both. And again, it was not for a photo booth. So again, it was easy for us to switch back and forth. Earlier, I talked about how to switch from green to blue in Darkroom booth. you need to, and I'll show you the next slide. I'll show you a screenshot of Darkroom, but to select the chroma key color, you got to do a session first. It needs to be a proper session, proper lighting with a chroma key background. That's really the way you need to do it. And then once it's done, double click on the photo and it'll open up the tab, and I'll show you that here in a second. You can go into the tool select and go to the chroma key options and go to the blue. It'll have a chroma key blue, an A, and a chroma key green. And I think that's the top left, not top right. Sorry about that. Select the color you want, and then go to attributes and click on apply to all in catalog. And what I'm talking about is this page right here. Now I cut it off, so it's not the full page. But anyway, that in the top left there where it says number 1, that's where you want to go into select either green or blue. And the A means, well, I always think it means average. Maybe Wally may correct me, but I always think it means average. And that's important. I know a guy that does photos of fairies, little girl fairies at the Renaissance festivals. And apparently chroma key blue and chroma key green are very popular colors for fairies. However, orange is not. So he actually uses an orange background and sets his for A, so it knocks out the most predominant color. And so again, you can do it with any color. However, you got to be careful to make sure it's not a color that a lot of people will use. Like, you know, my college colors are orange. It wouldn't work well if it was a game at my college. So anyway, so just do bear that in mind. And if you look where it says number 2 there under attributes, so you'd click there and you'd save it all to catalog. And that way you can switch, you know, you don't want to switch back and forth unless you're doing something really odd that, you know, everyone's wearing either blue or chroma key blue or chroma key green, but that you can switch it back and forth. But my advice is do it all for the entire event. Okay. 2 most common chroma key issues is uneven background lighting and reflective spill onto the subject. The first photo that I showed with Mike and Mara, they could have fallen victims of both of those. The uneven background lighting, usually what that is it's some sort of shadow on the back that causes you know, shadows or something that'll show up in the chroma key. And the other one is reflective spill onto the subject. The closer the subject is to the background, the more likely that green is going to bounce off the subjects, or bounce off the chroma key and go on the subject. And if it's, you know, especially someone with a shiny bald head, if it shows up green there, it can actually knock out part of that, you know, whatever that color or whatever it falls on the subject. So again, just bear that in mind. It's great to get people further away from the background, and I'll go over this a little bit more later. 4 to 6 feet is the best, but we know in a photo booth, you're lucky if you get 2 feet, sometimes more like 1 foot. And again, just good lighting and, you know, Darkroom software will really help get good results with that. Okay, like I was talking about earlier, the distance 4 to 6 feet is better, but you're almost never going to get that with a photo booth. It just almost won't happen. But just to let you know what's recommended, 2 feet minimum. Again, with a booth, sometimes it's 1 foot, and you just gotta live with it. So, what do you need to do chroma key? And again, so I set my booth up here so you can see it. Some of y'all came in late. So this is mine and Tanya's actual photo booth that we use. Our friend does refurbishes cars, and that is actually a candy apple red that you'd see on a car. That's the color of our photo booth. It doesn't even do justice here, but it's a beautiful color. But above it is the flash, just how we use it every time, whether or not it's chroma key or not. And it just, I like using flash. I like using an umbrella. We've used Brawley boxes, and Brawley is the British word for umbrella. So really it's basically an inverted umbrella, and it does work pretty well. But the problem is they don't make small ones anymore. They only make like 33 inch, and it doesn't fit well on top of the booth. So anyway, so we like using flash because it gives us enough f-stop and everything to make it work well. umbrella because it disperses the light nicely. And we just like the way this works. Now, we do use white lightnings just because it's what we already had when we started our booth 11 years ago. And we've always used these white lightnings. We have two of them, X800s. Again, use whatever you want to use, but again, just showing you what we have. Okay, and I was talking about why this is important. So if you look, hopefully everyone can see that.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So what this is so if you see the umbrella above and you see a stack of people like that, just imagine how that light will fall evenly upon every row that's there. So just kind of bear that in mind, why it's good to use an umbrella above the camera. It just disperses the light nicely, does a great job. It illuminates everyone. People in the front row and the back row get the same amount of light, inverse square law there. And it just wraps around nice. So it's just a great way to do it, okay? All right. What you need, number two, a seamless chroma key green or blue backdrop. When we say seamless, sometimes some backgrounds you'll buy, they're actually sewn together in the middle. And they'll work okay, but if you can get a seamless one, it'll be much better. But this is actually a sweep. This one actually goes all the way to the ground. However, we don't normally take that for our photo booth. We do have a regular backdrop that is not a sweep, because you can't control drunk people at events enough to do a sweep, but you could. Again, if that's what the client wants, you can certainly do it. And this is a washable backdrop, so I don't recommend doing it at home. Probably need to go to a commercial washing machine somewhere that's a little bit bigger, because it is a pretty big bundle. So all right, okay, let me find the next. Okay, so if you also need things on the floor, you can buy these little tiles if you do want people to step on it rather than the green screen backdrop, because it is murder on there. Also, oddly enough, if someone wants you to have like a floating ball or something in the chroma key, Savage Universal actually sells these chroma key outfits that you can buy to actually, have something floating in the background if someone ever wants it. So I've never needed it. No one's ever asked, but just want to make sure you knew it was an option. Charge accordingly. All right. What you need, number three, is a camera that has a manual setting for exposure, color balance, and a way to set off external flashes if you're using them. Now, the Canon cameras that a lot of people use, the Rebels, you do need to make sure you have a hot shoe adapter on the top, sync connector if you're doing wireless or however you're doing it. I cannot express this enough. Auto exposure and auto white balance are the worst things you can use, period. But it's also really bad for chroma key, especially your color balance, because you need to have it consistent. You want every single photo to be the same. That way the chroma key will knock out the same. And when someone looks at, a 3 or 4 photo three or four photo foot strip or whatever you're doing, they all look the same. Every now and then you get calls from people, or you'll see people posting on the network or the community about how their photos don't match. And it's almost always because they have something on automatic or everything on automatic. Also avoid the pop-up flash or ring flashes. They're really bad for chroma key. Pop-up flash is really bad because it can cause red eye and other problems. A ring flash is kind of a neat idea, except the problem is that, because it's a ring. So the bottom part of that ring light or flash, if it goes up, it can actually cause a shadow behind the people. So that's why ring lights are not the best option for chroma key, nor is pop-up flash. Okay. Okay. All right. So step one, set up your backdrop. Possible, get the wrinkles out. We always take a steamer with us when we doing our photo booth. Again, you don't have to. You can also, you pull it tight, or if you're using a pillowcase backdrop, it'll pull it tight. So again, whatever you need. I just think it looks better getting the wrinkles out. So again, if you can get them far enough away from the backdrop, but we know there's almost never a time that people are going to be that far away. Also, if you're using the sweep, make sure you have enough curve in there. It'll actually knock it out. Okay. Step two, umbrella or softbox to diffuse your light. I've already talked about that a little bit, but try to make your flash at least as tall as the tallest person will be in there. Again, that way the shadow falls behind the people, not straight, not above them or even right behind them, because it can cause a shadow. Okay. Talking earlier, set your camera's white balance to, the 5,500 degrees Kelvin or flash or daylight, depending on your preference. That'll keep your color balance the same between exposures, and set your exposure to manual. Never use auto settings. We talked about that earlier. So, okay, use a light meter or test shots, however you want to get your exposure correct. We've been doing this long enough that we do know the distance that we normally have, and we're usually within a half stop. And also, don't judge your exposure by your monitor. Even if you color calibrate your monitor, make a print, because that's what you're putting in your client's hand. So, do a print, make sure your exposure is correct.
Question about beauty dishes instead of umbrellas.
Okay.
So you have a question.
Yeah, there's a question about using a beauty dish. I use beauty dishes for years and years and years and years and years. And if you're doing, it's just not the best thing for chroma key, only because it's such a hot light. For if you're doing fashion or something like that, or portraits, they can be great. I just don't think they're soft enough to do chroma key. Just to let you know, now this is a Calumet umbrella. Calumet's not in business anymore, but they made great umbrellas. But there's other companies, but also there's a Cowboy Studio here in Dallas. They have pretty good umbrellas for pretty inexpensive. And anyway, so use a beauty dish if you feel it's just not the best thing to use. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions. My wife is sitting here and she can let me know. Is there any, might say more. See that?
What?
Oh, I don't know. Just seeing if there's other questions here.
Oh, yeah. No, those are the same.
Okay.
Just because you haven't looked at them.
Got it. Okay.
So
okay.
Somebody, Thomas Morton, said umbrellas are the best.
Do you like it? Okay. Software, Darkroom.
Somebody asked, of course. Can you talk about packages and key rings? I'm not sure what he means by packages.
Packages, yeah. Whoever asked about packages and what was the other? Key rings. Yeah, if you're asking about how to make those for Darkroom booth, that's probably better for Darkroom core. If you want to send, me or support it, or text, well, is it tech support or support at darkroomsoftware.com? You there? Anyway.
He's not on.
Oh, while he's not on, he's scampered off. But anyway, so yeah, that's if you're asking for keychains and everything, well, not really what we're going over today for this, unfortunately. Okay. All right. We talked about this a couple of times. Remember, uneven background lighting, reflective spill off the subject. And just to let you know, if you're in a location where you can make this work and it's not a bunch of drunks that become a trip hazard, you can always have a background light. So this is known as a shovel, okay? And this is a short stand that you can use to illuminate the backdrop. However, again, if you're doing formal portraits, or portraiture, you usually have, people aren't usually in party mode, so you usually have a little better control of them. So I don't recommend that for a photo booth, but it's something you can do to make the background more even. Okay, so talked about uneven background lighting. If you try to use two different lights on each side of this, what it has a tendency to do is, if you have two people in the photo, where the lights come in, the shadows from the two people fall behind them in the middle, and where those two shadows cross, you'll have this just looks like this kind of blob in the middle where, if they're really close to the background. And that's why one light just sends all the shadows right behind them. So, if you need two lights for whatever reason, get them as close as possible. Definitely get the people at least 4 feet away from the background, or you will have those crisscrossing shadows. Background lights can be a trip hazard. I showed you that earlier. So, okay.
Just ask you. So,
oh, there's a question.
Yeah. Brett asked, what is the most lights that you have used during a session?
For photo booth 1, when it's portraiture 4, a hair light. In fact, you can see our hair light up here, showing you our background light, and we would use, a main and a fill light. But with photo booth, it just doesn't help to have a bunch of lights. It just, one good light above the camera, just because you don't have as much control. You want them to have fun. You want them to move between photos. You want them to do a lot of things. And this is more for darkroom booth than it is for darkroom core. But maybe we'll do a core, something in the future. But as far as booth is concerned, I'd stick to one light. So, okay. Outfits, same color as the background. Put your arm in here, Tanya. So this is my wife's shirt, so you can see, and she didn't wear it on purpose. She just happened to be wearing chroma key green. So if she was wearing chroma key green, she would appear completely nude in the photo. I'm just kidding. She would just be invisible, or she's got black and white stripes. So that'd be the only thing showing in her photo.
Brett also asked, I have darkroom core and wonder if I need to purchase booth.
Well, it depends on what you're using. If you're doing photo booths, like I showed at the beginning, where it's, 2, 3, 4 photos, and it's at a party, and, it's at a wedding, and people are coming in, they're starting the booth, it's counting down, it's taking the photos, it's making a photo booth strip. That's exactly what photo booth is designed for. If you're doing sports or portraits or, anything that requires a single photo that you're going to take a couple of photos, pick the best photo, zoom, crop, make sure everything's knocked out okay, then send to print. That's what Core and Pro are really for. So 2 different softwares for 2 different uses. So again, if you need a photo booth, get booth. If you're doing anything else other than a photo booth, that's what Core and Pro is for. I hope that made sense. Okay. And just to let y'all know, one of the reasons why we're doing this, in case y'all didn't read, is normally, this time last year, Wally, myself, Eugene, Steve, Laura, Eugene, everyone from, there's 3 of us from Imaging Spectrum and 4 from Darkroom were at the Photo Booth Expo in Las Vegas. So that's where we would be right now if it wasn't for COVID. So that's kind of why we're doing this, just for people that couldn't make it. No one's at PBX because they didn't have it. But anyway, it's just kind of in honor of Photo Booth Expo. So that's why we're doing this for Photo Booths this week, because normally we'd be in the booth showing this or talking about it. So just to let you know why this emphasis is on Photo Booths this week in Darkroom booths. So. Okay, so this is, I did a steampunk photo booth at a steampunk wedding. This was several years ago. And oh my God, was this fun. Holy cow. But they actually bought, you can actually see it in the bottom right-hand photo, but they actually had a chroma, and I don't think they did it on purpose, but they had a chroma key mustache. And of course I could not resist doing it myself since I have a mustache. So, but you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, it's at a little bit different of an angle. So again, if someone has something chroma key green on, it will be see-through. It will be knocked out. Now in Core and Pro, you can go back in and bring that lost color back in, and you technically could do that in booth, but why? It just, anything you do like that backs up your line, and it's just not worth it. Let him be a floating head or be invisible or whatever. So, but anyway, I just wanted to show you what can happen if someone's wearing chroma key green, or someone has a chroma key green prop or anything like that. It will be see-through. I mean, there's just no other a way around it. Now, if you turn it at at the right angle, then it would be either less see-through, kind of like the one in the bottom right-hand corner there.
Thomas
So.
Morton just asked which software for booth and or green screen.
Yeah, this is Darkroom Booth that all these photos were done with. And again, Darkroom Booth does have really good chroma key. In fact, it has the same chroma key algorithm as Darkroom Core and Darkroom Pro. Just remember, Booth is for, you know, a photo booth like this, like 3 photos. You hit the button, it counts down, takes the photo, makes the print, sends it to the printer, and out it comes. Core and Pro, you take the photo, you pick the photo, you zoom, crop, you hit print. So again, 2 different uses for software. You know, if you're doing prom photos and they want to be on the moon, that would be Darkroom Core. But if you're doing a photo booth at that prom, then that would be different. That would be, you know, Darkroom Booth. So I hope that makes sense. So, okay. Test prints. Make sure someone, and the reason I put this in here is someone asked last week, why are my photos black? You know, and, you know, of course, our first thought was all kind of other things. They didn't put, you know, the exposure wrong. They didn't have the right layer. And what it was, and we've seen this before, and it did take us a couple of, and this was on the Photo Booth Network or Photo Booth Community or the Darkroom Booth Facebook page, but it took us a couple of tries to figure out what they were doing. But they were trying to do a test print without a chroma key background and without proper lighting. Well, when you do a chroma key, it thinks that it's a chroma key and it'll just turn out black. So again, when you're doing test prints, when you're seeing if it works right, make sure everything is like that, or your photos just won't come out. So yeah, okay. Same thing for, this happens every now and again too, picking a chroma key template without chroma key. If someone picked this template, and this is the one that just comes in Darkroom, if you pick that, and again, if you're not using a chroma key background, it'll try to knock it out and it'll look really odd. So again, if you like this background, just go in and turn off the chroma key. You don't have to make any other changes, just turn off the chroma key, and that would be done in the template editor. If you just double click on it, you could do that. So
Bill?
Yes.
Okay. What I use a 5x5 nylon. It's nylon enclosed photo booth, the actual photo booth. And I have proper lighting. On my phone. Actually, I don't even touch the camera settings when I put it away, because when I get it out for the next job, everything is right there. I use the same stuff, same thing every time. Now, a green screen, what I use 2 studio lights, and one is higher than the other. And then again, I have to worry about shadows, because shadows, you know what they do. And my last job, one job I had a hair light. Then the next job, I decided, you know, I'm not going to do that hair light. I have 2 extra lights, small lights, and I put them on the floor, shining up at the background of and it works. It worked great. Now my question is, which software would you recommend me to buy in? Because I don't have none of your products, because I use Green Screen Wizard and I use Breeze Systems for the photo booth. Would you buy the Core? Can the Core do both, and or would the Booth software do both?
Booth, you absolutely positively cannot do manual photos with Darkroom Booth. It's only a countdown model for photo booth. With Darkroom Core Pro, technically you could manually take 3 or 4 photos, and if you have it set, it'll make a photo booth strip and send it to the printer. You can do that manually with Darkroom Core. I just don't recommend doing it, just because it's more fun. I mean, part of the fun of a photo booth is watching people try to haul ass between photos to get
mine count. It counts down to whatever number you set it at, but I got like 5 seconds, and the 5 seconds is a lot. But they see themselves, and then they pose, and they want to look at the monitor that I have inside instead of the camera. So it's kind of funny. However, so
Which one?
So you don't recommend one software or the other for both of them, correct?
Well, no, I mean we have both for either, you know, for each use separately. So I mean, just because it no client has ever asked us to do a photo booth that we controlled the photo, if that makes sense. You know, I'm just telling you, no one's asked us.
Okay, the green screen, what I do is, if it's a green screen event, is the camera and tripod, all their lights all set up. It's at their convenience. They want to come in. I shoot one or two photos, and they don't see the background until it comes out of the printer.
Yeah. I don't do Chroma Key live view on my photo booth either. They don't see the background.
Well,
I'm just telling you the way.
Yeah, I like the video too, because I can get behind in front of a green screen, do a short video, and then zip it with any kind of background, and then put it on my website.
Gotcha. Yeah, and just to let you know, I consider anything that I manually take photos, event photography, and anything that the computer takes the photo, a booth. And just to let you know, I have this sign made for when people are not looking at the camera. I cover the monitor.
Yeah, there you go.
Look up. So anyway, okay. So you're welcome. Okay. So when should you use Chroma Key? Anywhere. Make an offering and let people know that it's available. Creating background plates for your Chroma Key. You can either photograph them yourself, you can buy them, or acquire the images for the background. And just to let you know, I cannot stress this enough. Don't just pull something off the internet. Do not think that your clients, even if you're not uploading the photos, do not
copyright.
Do not think that they won't take a photo of the photo and post it. And if you've just grabbed something off the internet, it's copyright infringement. And there's been a lot of new laws lately to help protect copyright owners. So I just can't stress enough. Don't just take something off the internet. Use it for the background of your Chroma Key.
All my photos are copyrighted. And I came across this vacationing in San Diego. My daughter lives there, and the place where we stayed, they had this young gal who was in school to take photos and put it on their website. What she did was stole pictures of the nearby shopping center and said, these are close by, you know, as a place to shop while you're there. And that photographer found those photos and was going to, sue them and take them to court. And they asked me what I should do. I said, well, the first thing you do is get them off your website. And then the second thing, negotiate. But, I don't know the outcome. But yeah, it is. And a lot of places that you have photos, if you are not, copywriting them, anybody can use those. Anybody can take those. So mine are copyrighted, and there are places now, and as you said, really strict, and they're coming down hard on people that they will not allow to make photos if you are not in that photo. They go, well, who took the photos? Oh, my photographer. Well, I'm sorry, unless you get a release letter,
Yep. Yeah. And just to let you know, anytime the photographer takes a photo, it's copyrighted. Now, putting the copyright symbol on there and registering it with the Copyright Office makes it more enforceable. You get more money when you sue someone. So, okay.
There's a question from Michael. And
okay, Michael has a question.
With no live view, how do people position themselves to catch a ball or things like that?
Gotcha. If you're talking about with a photo booth, you can certainly leave the live view on. I just don't have the Chroma Key background showing in the live view. I certainly can, I just don't. So again, that's completely up to you if you want to do that. And again, doing events or sports photos, is different than, you know, doing it with a photo booth. So, and as far as background place, I just noticed that I put set camera for RAM. That should be RAW, by the way, or highest quality JPEG. Make sure you color balance the file, crop to the size that you need. So anyway, so just.
We also had a question about whether you were going to be using the software and demonstrating, but I don't think you
I would, but it's just, I'm on a Mac right now and I'd have to switch computers, and I had a well, it's a little easier with Zoom, but I didn't know that we'd be using Zoom till I got up here. So I did not bring a computer up here to show it, but I did want to show our setup and everything. And just to let you know, if any of y'all don't have Darkroom and want to test it out, you can absolutely go to darkroomsoftware.com, download Darkroom Booth, and it will absolutely give you 100% of the features as a full-blown version. It'll just put a Darkroom software watermark on it. So, you know, feel free to use it, play with it. If you have questions, I'm gonna have my email at the end of here. Email me, ask Darkroom. You know, there's a Darkroom Booths Facebook page. There's a Darkroom Core and Pro Facebook page. So there's all kind of ways you can, you know, learn it and figure it out and see if it's a good fit for you.
Two more questions. One is that Thomas says that the software is a lifetime.
Yes and no. Sorry. The question was, is Darkroom a lifetime license? So technically, yes. If you bought Darkroom today, and it would basically last the life of your Windows 10 computer, because that's what's current now. However, when that computer dies and it's Windows 11, you probably won't, well, you definitely won't be able to transfer the license to that computer. So, I mean, you know, it's a lifetime of the computer, but Darkroom provides support for 1 year after purchase and free upgrades for 1 year after purchase. So anything after that, you know, again, your software will work. However, you cannot call Darkroom for support, no free upgrades. So, and Darkroom does all those upgrades and everything themselves. And that's, you know, you can do that from the software, call them. So
one more question from Ronald. Says, what do you mean? He's looking at your slide up. He says, what do you mean crop to the size that you need?
In other words, if you're doing the question was, what do I mean by crop to size? So I'm going to go back to this photo here. So this photo is not I don't think that's a 3:2 aspect ratio. So 3:2 is what your camera shoots, or 4:6 or 8:12, or however you want to think about it. But if you're doing, you know, something that's 4:5, you need to crop the background photo to whatever size it is, you know, that you're printing, whether or not it's Darkroom Booth or Darkroom Core. You want to crop at that size. Hope that made sense. So,
you want another question?
Yes.
Okay, so the two Bonnies asked, can you transfer events and templates / screens from one version of the software to a new one?
The question was, can you transfer events and templates? Templates, you certainly can. However, the events, not yet. I think it's coming in the future to where you could make everything on one computer and transfer it over. And I'm talking Darkroom Booth. You cannot make an event and move it right now. I think that's coming. But again, the templates you can move in Booth. And screens, yes, you can make that. In fact, you can make it on an unregistered version of Darkroom Booth and transfer it over. So if you need to, you know, if you need to have a home computer without Darkroom Booth, you can make all those and transfer it. Right now, you cannot transfer with Core or Pro in version 9.2. It's coming in 9.3. So, okay. Oh, and sorry. So I put this photo of the moon. So technically, you know, do photos of the moon. You can do photos of Mars now too. So just let you know. Look out for Marvin the Martian on Mars. So you'll never know when he's hanging out there. So it's talking about how to crop the size. Just to let you know, all DICEB printers are 300 DPI. Yes, they offer 600 DPI. However, I highly recommend not doing 600 DPI. And the reason being is it's really good for text, not so good for people. It makes them look pixelated. How to find the size. If if you multiply the size in inches by your DPI to figure pixels. So for a 4:6 photo at 300 DPI, 4 times 300 DPI, 1200 pixels, 6 times 300 is 1800 pixels. And you do the same thing if it's smaller. So just to give you an idea of how you figure size, that's really more for the background than it is for anything else. Okay. I do have this Chroma Key 101 that I wrote a couple of years ago now, and it is a PDF file. You don't have to try to take a photo of this or anything. If you want it, just send an email to bill@imagingspectrum.com. If you have any questions, you know, if you want the Chroma Key 101 or whatever, just email me, and I will email that back to you. So just put Chroma Key 101. Don't say something too random in the subject.
They ask that you leave the email up for a few minutes.
Oh yeah. I'm leaving the email up, so I'm not moving that. So
Mia had a comment earlier.
Okay.
Here said, thank you all so very much for being here, especially with COVID and what Texas has been going through.
Yeah, Mia thanked us for being here, and you know, with all everything that's been going on, and yeah, it's been last week was tough, so we couldn't. We were home all last week, and yeah, it's sunny outside now, and it's supposed to stay that way. So my wife's from Northern Canada. In fact, our photo company is called Albertex Photo because she's from Alberta, and well, I'm from Texas. So she kind of laughs when what we think is bad weather. So, but we're just not equipped to drive in it or go out in it or anything like that. So
we have a question from iPhone.
Okay.
Is it, how do you upload your background image?
Yeah, I wish I was showing it, but in Darkroom Booth, all you need to do is have the file on your computer. So whether you're bringing it in on a flash drive or a floppy disk, just kidding, or if it's already on the computer, you know, but what you do is in Darkroom Booth, when you're creating your template, you just say, bring in this file, and you click on it and you just have to point to it, and Darkroom Booth actually imports it into the template. Now, I will tell you that's something that is not in Darkroom Core or Pro 9.2 or earlier. It's coming in 9.3. 9.2 and earlier, Core and Pro, you have to have the photo on your computer and point to it to work. That's one of the reasons why you cannot transfer templates with Core and Pro, which you certainly can with Darkroom Booth. Again, you just need the file. And just to let you know, with Darkroom Booth and Core, anything in the background should be a JPEG. Anything in the foreground that's going to be see-through, like a logo, or if you're making a template with, you know, boxes in it or something, that needs to be a PNG file, and that PNG file needs to be transparent. You know, for those of y'all that know Photoshop, transparent means you can see the little box squares, you know, behind it. So
Cameron has a two-part question.
Okay, Cameron.
First, is it possible to copy photos to a client's USB?
Yes. In fact, what Tanya and I used to do, we would actually, in Darkroom Booth, and we do the same thing in Core, as we're doing a session, in fact, that's probably a screenshot on here. In fact, I know it is. Let me go back to it, find where that is. Nope. Shoot. So it's really small over here. Oh, no, that's not it. Doggone it. I thought I had it on there. Maybe I didn't bring that in. Well, anyway, so you can go in Darkroom and you can select to save, you know, you can print the photo, email it, save it. And we actually set it to do both. We actually set it to save it to we have it set to save to a folder on the computer. In the session earlier at 10 o'clock, Eugene was talking about don't save photos automatically to a flash drive because if that flash drive fills up or if it gets disconnected or whatever, you'll have a failure on the computer. I mean, it'll just pop up and say, can't move it, can't transfer it, something. So we save it to a folder as we're doing the sessions. And then at the end of the night, we actually transfer it to our flash drive, take it home and upload it to Dropbox. The reason we do that is we learned a lesson. If you give the host or the client the flash drive at the event, you're liable to get a phone call 2 days later. I lost the flash drive. Can you send another one? So we do not give flash drives at the event. Yeah, we just upload it to Dropbox and then they can download it. Part two of the question.
Is it possible to upload sessions to social media live at an event?
Yes and no. Facebook, and this is a Facebook thing, Facebook does not allow you to upload like that. You cannot upload, via any software with Facebook. And I don't know if they're going to change that or not. I'm pretty sure you can with Instagram and some of the other ones. We don't, we'll email it, we can set ours up for email so that they finish the session, it'll pop up and say, put in your email address. They can email it to themselves. They can upload it themselves to whatever, social media they want to upload it to. But we never have, but we could to some of them. We just don't. And the clients never asked us to. Any other questions?
Anthony said his wife is also from Alberta. Alberta rocks.
Where in Alberta? Blondie's from Edmonton. So.
Calgary.
Oh, just south or way south. Kind of like Dallas, Houston difference. So yeah. And by the way, this is my wife in the photo with me. So all right. Any other questions?
Nothing.
What time is it?
It is 3:11.
3:11. Okay.
Oh, Brian, hold on. There's two things. Okay. The two Bonnies said, we have used and seen different booth software. Yours is head and shoulders above the rest, which has helped our company no end. After only 3 years in business, we have become the company that others around us aspire to. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Bonnies.
And then Brian M. asked, can you talk more about your booth? Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure what you want to know. I don't have a key for it handy, but there's a camera inside of there. We have a small computer. It's about the size. It's an Acer. It's about the size of a small coffee can. I didn't bring it up with me, but on the front of here, we connect a 21-inch touchscreen monitor right to here. These are the cables that go to the touchscreen monitor. I don't like using a small, Surface Pro or anything like that. I like a big monitor. So again, it's not the smoothest thing because the monitor is wider than the front, but we do use a wide 21-inch monitor.
Stop sharing your screen so people can see. They can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I was sharing my screen. Sorry.
Push a red stop share. There you go.
Okay, sorry about that. I was showing you my monitor, getting that I didn't have that turned off. Okay, so on the front of here, this is where we connect our 21-inch monitor, and the cables come out the bottom here. So there's 3 different ones. There's a power supply, an HDMI, and a USB because it is a touch screen. So again, this is how we connect it here to the front.
Turn off the light so it's easier to see.
This is our camera, and this is a Nikon D90 camera. And just to let you know, we've used that camera all 11 and a half years that we've had this photo booth. We've never, we do have a Canon T3 Rebel that we always have with us as a backup, but this is the one camera we've used in this booth all 11 years. And we already had the camera when we bought our booth, and it just works. It works great. And something about this is not a zoom lens. That is a 28 millimeter 2.8 lens. So we use a fixed lens on this booth. We do have the regular zoom lens on our backup camera. We do always have a 20 millimeter lens in our backup equipment if we ever need something wider than the 28. It's just the way we do it. Zoom lenses are great. We have zoom lenses. We just happen to use, fixed prime lenses in our booth. And we also never use autofocus.
James asked, what are your camera settings?
It depends. You know, again, it's all about, the question was, what are our camera settings? And again, you know, it all depends on your light, your distance, inverse square law, you know, different things like that. But a rough number would be about half power on our flash, ISO 200, f11, 1/200th of a second. And white balance is set for usually flash or daylight. And again, that's what works for us because we're almost the exact same distance every time from our flash to the subject. So again, we know that that's going to work. Just to let you know, I have a degree in photography. I'm a professional photographer by trade, so I'm pretty good at figuring exposure. But again, the most important thing is just remember, do a test, get to location, do a test, print it out. If it's too light or too dark, just go in and, you know, go. I will tell you, shutter speed doesn't help with a flash. So, you know, go up or down on your flash, go up or down on your f-stop, go up or down on your ISO.
Ronald asked if you could please explain the inverse square law.
Okay, inverse square law, for those of you that weren't physics majors like me, basically. So, you know, your flash from here to 4 feet, you know, as it goes to 6 feet, it falls off exponentially. So inverse square law just means the further the flash goes, the more it falls off. So the darker it gets. That's why that picture I showed earlier where the flash is turned, you know, our umbrella's turned at an angle, you know, that way if there's a bunch of rows of people, the flash hits them at the same distance. Someone posted a photo the other day, and I think it was on the Darkroom booth Facebook page, but the front row was blown out and the row just behind it looked okay. And what we found out is they had their flash, their umbrella too close to their flash, and they were using a silver umbrella. So this is white, they were using silver, and it just was throwing way too much light out there. So we recommended move it out and get a white one instead. So again, things are very relative.
There's a couple of questions to go back to, but I'm trying to stick with.
Let me just show something real quick here. So this is kind of a mess right now.
Yes,
but
that's one of them. Somebody
so
else
this is our computer. It's an Acer computer. They don't make that exact one anymore. It's an i3 or i5 2.4 something, 8 gigs of RAM. You know, it's not a super fancy computer, but it certainly has all the specs that it needs, and it was small. It fit in the box. Just to let you know, this is the extension cord that goes into the computer, and that is a surge protector that we have to go to all of our components in there. So
Cameron also asked, where can we buy the photo booth hardware?
It depends which hardware.
Software from you.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tess also asked what type of light you're using.
Yeah, this is an Alien B. Sorry, this is a White Lightning X800. So, and just to let you know, we do have Alien Bs also. There's one up here, and this is also an Alien B. However, in our booth, we use the White Lightning, and there's a reason why. It has a 250 watt modeling light where these have 150s. Does not help the exposure, but it helps get attention. And we want to make sure that our client thinks we're doing as much as we can to get as many people to come to the booth. So that's why we like the 250 watt modeling light. Again, it doesn't help exposure, it doesn't help focus because we use manual focus.
Thomas asked, do we supply props?
We do not supply props. Oh, you mean do we supply props? Sorry, I thought you meant do we sell imaging spectrum and darker? Yes.
No, I meant when you do a job, do you?
No. So as soon as I started saying that,
I have really good, nice props. However, last year I did 3 jobs and I had to limit my props. So I suggest to them, if they want to get stick props like you had on some of those pictures, you can. And at the end of the event, you're welcome to take those home with you. But a lot of them just leave it for me.
Yeah, we do. The stick props I mean, as far as wooden stick props, we do have, in fact, like the last gig that we did, they supplied those. But during COVID, we have normally just one of us does an event. For the last year during COVID, when we've been able to do them, it has been both of us. So I run the booth and Tanya works the prop table, and we only take hard PVC props. And this is made by a prop company. So this is, PVC, it's hard, and you can clean these.
Yeah, they're
alcohol white, and it doesn't hurt them.
The hard covers are easy to spray and wipe off. Now, I have a lot of masks with feathers and stuff like that. You can't spray those. No,
we're not even taking our mustaches and our lips.
Yeah, no, I have
none of that we take. We also have maskimals. We have the heads.
Oh yeah.
We're not taking hats, nothing soft. We're not taking boas. We're not taking anything other than hard PVC props.
You can't spray those because they'll get ruined.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I don't know if you answered Cameron's questions adequately, because he'd asked where to buy hardware, and he'd asked if you could see your laptop and what's inside the red box.
Okay, that's not a laptop. That's just a regular. That's again an Acer computer. It's about the size of a coffee can. So we don't use laptops in our photo booth. So it's kind of strapped in there.
Probably on there.
Anyway, so that's it. It's literally that big.
Tell them it's normally not that stand. It's not wobbly.
Yeah, I told them when we started that wasn't our normal stand, just the light stand that we had up here. So anyway,
if you're pretty good at it, you can make your own setup. I bought the photo booth, the 5x5 nylon polyester. It's a nylon enclosure. I bought that in California. However, everything else I bought new, except for a stand I made out of wood. It supports a 17-inch monitor, so they get to see it. Then I made a bracket for the camera to sit on top of that. And then my computer gets behind that, my laptop, which is a touchscreen. So all I have to do is once things set up, all I have to do is hit this button, press start, and it does its own thing.
Gotcha. Just to let you know, our camera, we bought the bracket that the camera's sitting on.
Yeah.
And that's about our third different one. And I'm still not happy with this one, but
that looks like a bracket I have.
Yeah.
You can bring it up and tilt it and everything down.
Now the problem with this one is it has locks in between. So, if you get it just where you want it, then it's when you go to tighten it,
right.
That next one. That kind of drives me crazy.
I don't like using that, especially on the green screen, because it just, once you have your camera set, there's no need for anything else to move. And if you have that bracket that kind of moves the camera, it's not very sturdy.
Yeah. And we do not change. If we have kids in the booth, tough. Then there's not much.
Oh, no, that's true.
We do not tilt the camera down.
I tried to.
Yeah, we just don't, because then we have to go and fix it back. So again,
but mine goes up. Mine's on a swivel, and I try to tilt it down so much, but I do tell them, I cannot get the little boy in there and you stand straight up tall. It's best that you pick up the boy, and that's the way it is. I mean,
yeah. And we will have kids that'll come in and do it themselves. And if they don't, if it only has this much, it's their photo. Oh, there's another question. Go ahead. Three more questions.
Okay. So Angela asked, will the Q&A be on the video you all post on the site after the class? I'm assuming everything.
I don't know. You have to ask Wally.
We're still recording.
Yeah, we're still recording. So
I assume so, yes.
Okay.
And then Ronald asked, Bill, can you provide the formula for DPI to pixel conversion again? I vaguely remember 400 by 300, etc.
Yeah, it's 300 DPI, always 300 DPI. All dye sub printers now are 300 DPI times the inches. So if it's 4 inches times 300 DPI, that's 1200 pixels. So it's whatever the inches are times 300 DPI or times 300. So that's how you figure it.
And then somebody asked, can the guests choose from different backgrounds, or is it only one for green screen?
Technically, we could have several templates created, and they would be on the start screen. So when they walked up, they could hit this one, this one, this one, and this one. We could have it set up that way. Again, no one's really asked us to do that. We've never really said, hey, by the way, you could do this, but you certainly can with Darkroom Booth. We just never have. So
Dan said, Bill, you've been great. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome, Dan.
Mia asked, will this course be available in print, or is there a step-by-step somewhere?
Well, it depends what you're looking for. So, I mean, technically all this is if you go to the Darkroom, if you get my Chroma Key 101 and you go to the Darkroom software, what's
resource?
Yeah, the resource on the Darkroom page, most of this is on there. But I just try to be more specific on things that work for me and that I've used. But if you can't find an answer to something, just send me an email. So
the two Bonnies, this is back in reference to asking if guests can choose different backgrounds. The two Bonnies said that they'll have 10 per event, and they could have more. They want it. So you might need to repeat that.
Yeah, so the Bonnie said that they'll have 10 per event. Do y'all have them up on the screen, or do you have pictures that they pick? I'm just curious. So
unmute themselves.
Did y'all answer? Hello.
You might need to unmute them. It's the two Bonnies.
Yeah.
Okay. Or she can.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They
went hopping around.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so any other questions?
Like your mustache.
Ronald has one more question.
Thanks.
He said, can I unmute?
Oh, yeah.
Ronald.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Bill.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. I want to thank you and Tanya tremendously. You guys have been super, super helpful, with this whole green screen thing. So my question to you is this. I don't want to sound redundant, but in regards to the DPI conversion, so that will be applicable when I'm going into my camera settings, the crop. When am I playing with this whole DPI to to pixels conversion sort of thing?
Gotcha. This is what I was referring to is, and it's really more. It'd kind of be more if you were doing just a 4:6 photo, and you were chroma keying it. How big would you need to crop it? Well, you want to crop it 4:6 at 300 DPI, which is also 1200 by 1800 pixels. But also in Darkroom Booth, if you're creating a chroma key background, and let's say the largest photo is that big, about what is that, about 3 inches by about 2 inches, 3:2, it's the same aspect ratio. So my advice is crop it in Photoshop as large as it would ever be in Darkroom Booth. And the reason you do that, it's just quicker. If it doesn't have to resize it, it's just quicker. You already have the resolution set. It's not trying to resize it. It doesn't pixelate it. It's just ready. Now it's okay to size it down a little bit. So, you make it the biggest one, even though if you have two smaller ones. So again, you don't have to do that. I just do. So
my question to you is this. I'm not going in my camera settings at all, though.
No, this is nothing. This is something.
Oh, so this is only relative to Photoshop. Okay.
Photoshop to create the background to transfer to.
Oh, yeah. So this is where I'm doing the whole conversion in Photoshop. So I don't do none of the graphic side of things. I'll let my graphic designer know, hey,
yeah.
If we're doing a so case in point, give me an example. So if I tell my graphic designer we're doing a 4:6 backdrop or template design, right? I'm okay, you know what? Give it to me, give me in Photoshop, make the image 1200 by 1800. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, what I would tell someone doing that, because they'll know what you mean. Just tell them 4:6 at 300 DPI. They'll know what you mean. You could do it either way, because even if you say 1200 by 1800, you still should give them the 300 DPI. So again, you might as well just tell them 4:6. They'll know.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you so much, Bill.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Any other questions? Anyone? All right.
Bonnie did confirm that, yes, a choice of 10 and the user chooses them.
But I mean, are they on the screen, or do you have prints. Okay, yeah, you can certainly fit that many on a big screen. So, but yeah. So.
And somebody had asked for your email address again, but I put it in the chat. But you might want to put the slip. I think you're good.
Yeah, yeah.
She said yes on the screen. She has 10.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Bell at imagingspectrum.com. You can. I'm also tech support at imagingspectrum.com. So either one of those addresses. So, all righty.
You want to send them to our website if they see?
Yeah, and if y'all want to see mine and Tanya's stuff, Tanya will post it on there. We're albertexphoto.com, Alberta, Texas. So
Do you own the company?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, my wife owns it. I just work for her now. we both own it. So yeah. Tanya and I actually met at a photo convention in Las Vegas. That's how I met my Canadian wife. So
that's cool.
So then I imported her, smuggled her across the border. Anyway, okay, y'all. Well, y'all have a good day. Thanks for coming, and feel free to holler and enjoy yourselves and stay safe out there. I've had both of my COVID shots now, but I'm still wearing a mask because I don't trust people. So.
Dan said what goes in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas.
No, it follows you home for a green card. So, all right, y'all. Y'all have a good day, and I'm gonna get just some tech tickets, make some calls for people that are having problems. All right, bye, everyone.
Hi, it's me again. If you haven't already subscribed, now is the perfect time to subscribe. Click the subscribe button down there, and if this video was helpful, I would appreciate a big thumbs up. That allows other users to it's more easy for them to find it. Algorithm stuff. But here are some other videos that YouTube thinks you would like. Thanks so much for stopping by. See you next time.